Hang on one second. Oh, there it is. All right. So, all right. Well, yeah, the StreamYard was messing up here. So, welcome to the Freakin Awesome Paranormal Show. How are you doing this evening? Of course, I want to wish everyone a very happy National TV Dinner Day. I'm glad you guys could take the time out of your busy days, enjoying a good TV dinner to join us on the show tonight. I really appreciate that, showing the support for the show on National TV Dinner Night. Hey, Diana, how are you? I am drinking tea tonight, not coffee, and it tastes just like water. That's it. I don't know. I just grabbed a random tea bag out of the cabinet and put it in my cup because I got a pumpkin spice latte from Starbucks, probably a little bit later than I should. And I was going to drink some decaf coffee, but I'm like, oh, maybe I shouldn't do that. Maybe I shouldn't do that. So again, welcome. I've been out of commission for about a week. I think it was, Monday was Labor Day. So it was Monday afternoon when I found out we had COVID. Hey, Kristen. Hey, Linda. And first it was RJ and I who had COVID. And then Angie found out she had COVID the next day, which honestly, I was kind of happy she found out she got it, because I know it sounds terrible, but I was completely unmotivated all week. And it definitely helped having her at home with me this week, because it sucked. Sucked. Really hard. But I'm back. Still not feeling great, but feeling better than I was during the week, at least. So tonight we've got Paranormal Investigator Donnie Parker coming on the show, which again, I really appreciate him coming on the show on National TV Dinner Day. So it's awesome that he's able to come on here tonight and chat with us. I'm gonna go ahead and put him on the show. Actually, before I do that, I run, I do the show through Block Talk and StreamYard. So if you listen to the live part, StreamYard part, you won't hear it, but I played a Jimmy Buffett song, The Weather Here, I Wish You Were Beautiful, which I was going to play on Tuesday night if I wasn't sick, as a tribute to Jimmy Buffett. He was a huge figure growing up in my life. I listened to his music for as long as I can remember. And, I know he passed away Labor Day weekend, but still wanted to say something about him and just give little props to him and just, let him know that like they know he's listening. Of course he's listening to the show up in heaven. Of course he is, because why wouldn't he? But I just figured it'd be something I should do since he was such a big part of my life. So Jimmy, that one was for you. I know you're listening. And let's bring on Donnie and let's talk ghosts and stuff. What is up, brother? How are you?
I'm all right, bro. How you doing? You feeling better?
I mean, I am getting there. I am getting there. Still on the rough side of life, but definitely not as out of it as it was the other day.
Yeah. Now, shout out to Hungry Man Dinners, since it's TV dinner night.
Yes, it is. How about was it a banquet? A little banquet, some love, and what's the one with the bird, like Blue Sky, a bluebird or something?
I don't eat the things anymore.
I mean, every once in a while I'll grab myself a Hungry Man just to reminisce. And if I had known it was National TV Dinner Day right before I went on the show, I might have made one tonight for to celebrate. How's everything going with you?
Doing good. I got a paranormal hangover. I actually had to, when I came home, ate a little lunch and took a nap. I mean, it was
Man,
a pretty good investigation last night.
So what do you think causes a paranormal hangover? Is it the staying up late, or is it the energy you get from investigating? What do you think? Because it's not like, it's different from when you stay up all night watching TV compared to staying up all night and investigating. What do you think causes that?
I think they actually drain you a little bit.
Yeah. Trying to get your energy to manifest.
Yeah.
Yeah. Tell you what, though, when people talk about it, man, it is real. I mean, really, a lot more now when you get older in life. You feel it a lot more the next day. I know when I go investigate someplace, it is hard to deal with, especially like dealing with RJ. Luckily, Angie's here to help, or she does most of the work, but it still takes a lot out of you.
Oh, yeah. Plus, I was being woken up through the night because I was in the haunted room.
So you actually slept there?
Oh, yeah.
Did you get any sleep?
Yeah. They woke me up just enough I could hear them in the room, and then I got that a little bit later because I didn't stay up to pay attention to them. I got that paranormal cold, so I had to throw another blanket on.
Oh, yeah.
But I had two cameras going in the room, so hopefully I got something. I just haven't had time to go through the footage.
It's like when you try to get some evidence, they don't want to talk, but when you stop or don't pay attention to them, that's when they want to, like, hey, we're still here. What are you doing? Why aren't you talking to us?
Well, they were pretty active through the night.
That's awesome. And that was in Williamsburg?
Yeah, it was at the Wedmore place.
Okay.
We were actually, from what I understand, the first paranormal team invited to investigate to, I guess, verify all the stuff they've been seeing and all. We've got some cool pictures we'll post later on the Spirit Guides page. I posted a bunch of the evidence, a couple live feeds. So,
wow, it's always fun to investigate new places that people haven't ever investigated before.
Yep, there's a little bit of a lag, so mind me if I'm watching your lips move and I'm waiting for you to hear all the words.
Okay. So how did you get into the paranormal?
That's a whole different story. I actually grew up at about the age of 5 or 6 seeing my first ghost. And then I started cleansing houses of negative energy. Then I kept bumping into ghosts. Then I got some gear, some like-minded people, and started a team and took it from there.
So you grew up seeing ghosts. What was your first experience like when you first saw something that wasn't there or other people couldn't see, I guess?
Well, it was at night in an old farmhouse. I saw a figure come in to the bedroom door, lean in and look in. I thought at first it was my dad, but it wasn't. And then I watched it go down the hallway and turn into another bedroom. Then I knew it wasn't him. So then I brought it up to my mom going, hey, she goes, oh, yeah, we've heard the noises. My dad always thought I watched too many horror films, but I found out later that I knew what I was talking about.
I know a lot of people, they say something like, oh, you watched a scary film. So it's like, I've never experienced something where I project like what I see on TV into real life. I'm not sure why people think that's a thing where it's like, well, you must have been dreaming. Well, if I'm awake and I'm seeing something, that's not a dream,
Indeed.
I guess they don't want to scare you or, but I think it's probably better to just, be straightforward like your parents were and be like, yeah, we've been hearing stuff and not be like trying to hide it from you.
Yeah.
Were you scared when you saw it or was it more of a just, well, what the hell is this? Or I guess you're 5, you're thinking, what the heck is this?
Well, at first I thought it was my dad. That's what was so funny.
And then he's like, oh, well, maybe not.
Yeah, when he went into another room and I knew it wasn't him.
Man, I don't know what I would think if I saw something like that when I was 5 years old. I'd probably freak out. I'm the kind of guy who had to sleep with my door open, the hall light on, because I was like, oh, I don't want to mess with that shit. So I don't know how I would react. I mean, maybe it'd be like one of those things where you see something and you don't realize what it is until after the fact. You know, you're like, oh, your brain doesn't catch up with what you're seeing until it's already gone. Like, oh, I think I just saw a ghost.
Yeah.
So was the house that was haunted? Was it like an old house, or did you see anything else?
It was an old farmhouse. In fact, a lot of the family that showed up there would have their own experiences there. I mean, my brother came back from Vietnam, was supposed to sleep in the room where I saw the spirit go in. The next morning, we found him downstairs saying, I'm not sleeping in the other room's dead. And I've had aunts and uncles and all have experiences there when they come up and visit.
Mm. So it was a common thing. People weren't like, oh, this is really freaky. You were like, oh, this is just something that's just part of the personality of the house.
I think it freaked them out at first.
Did you how long did the experience last? So, like, did you keep did it go away for a while? Did they pretty much was it a constant thing?
It was a regular thing, pretty much.
So when you moved out of the house, did you keep having experiences, or like in different places, or did they start back up again once you started the team?
No, actually, the next house my parents built in Orleans, we were there not very long, and I started sensing the spirits there also. And it was funny because, again, my dad, the skeptic, said, oh, no. And I said, well, they're coming in through the cellar because you don't have a door on it. And he's like, oh, no. After I moved out, he heard the spirits one night, and he thought maybe the TV had come on, and he went out to the living room, and there was nobody there. So next time I came to visit, because my washer and dryer had died, and I went down to the basement to use the washer and dryer of theirs, and there was a door up on the cellar. So when I went upstairs, I'm like, hey, Mom, what happened? Your dad finally believed you, and he heard the noises, and he went out and thought TV was on, but it wasn't. So he finally took your word and put a door up, and it stopped.
Sometimes that's all it takes, man.
Yeah.
You know? So I guess you really have to experience the activity to really 100% believe that there's something going on. You know. So, what was your first official investigation?
It was that was weird. That was the house we were asked to come investigate. It dated back to the 1700s. The children's graves were buried in the backyard. It was actually used as a field hospital during the Civil War. It's out in Culpeper. We showed up there. It was bumping the nights, hearing stuff, and they wanted me to smudge the house, but we investigated. And that was the first place we got an EVP. We didn't think we had anything. We had investigated. We had a little interaction with the children with the gear, and then it was like, all right, I'll smudge the house because the family asked me to. So I'm smudging the house, doing my thing. And I walked in this one room, which we had absolutely no activity in. And all of a sudden, I got what I call the paranormal tingles. And I called in the ex and like, hey, what do you feel? And the rest of the team came in, and they're like, oh, you done started up something. So I'm like, all right, well, my shell's about empty. Start a conversation, and I'm going to go refill the shell. Well, I'm the only male in the house. So I walk out of there, go to the other end of the house where I have my sage and cedar and all the other herbs I use. And the EVP that came through was so cool. At the end, we got home, we heard it. It was like, man, it's like these answer questions left and right. And all of a sudden goes, who's in the room? And I'm the only male. You can hear me cough way off in the distance, but that voice was so clear. I'm like, wow, man, we were so rude in that man's house. So from that point on, we've always gone in and introduced ourselves.
I think a lot of times, or I shouldn't say a lot of times, but there are times when people investigate and they forget that they're in people's houses, and they forget that that the people that haunting place were once living, and they go into a place just what's your name? Why are you here? And not really how you would act going into somebody's house. If I walked into your house and be like, what's your name? Why are you here? Well, I live here, of course. It's maybe if you like you did, like show courtesy to the spirits when you walk in, they may be more apt to respond. I mean, that's not a guarantee, of course, but maybe something worth thinking about.
It's been our experience. I mean, if you go in and introduce yourself, they're pretty much going to go, hey, hi. And then you'll get your name shouted out now and again, and they'll start interacting with you.
I know when I go out to the cabin, and if I'm by myself, I'll be like, hey guys, what's going on? And I'll talk to them and say, hey, if we have somebody coming out, I'll say, hey, we have so-and-so coming out to investigate. Can you talk to them? Or be like, even if I'm not, no one's coming out, I'll still be like, hey, what's going on? I'll tell them about my day. Like I'm talking to myself, but trying to interact with them when I'm there, to try to show that I know they're there, and I'm can't think of the word I'm trying to say, but trying to just acknowledge them, I guess, would be what I'm trying to do. Sometimes I get answers, sometimes I don't.
Well, let's say hit or miss.
Yeah. I mean, it is with all the investigations, like going on a fishing trip. You don't know you're gonna get, might not catch fish, but that doesn't mean there are no fish in the lake.
Exactly.
So how would you describe? You said the paranormal tingles. How would you describe that to somebody?
It's almost like a chill, or your legs are going to sleep.
That's
how it feels to me.
That's interesting.
Everybody gets a different feeling.
Yeah, I know when I feel something, it's always like in my head, like around my sinuses, I start feeling like feel a little bit off when I feel there's something, or there could be something in the room with me. I guess it's different for each person.
Indeed.
When the antenna goes off. So when you first started investigating, how did you get into the spiritual part, not paranormal, and more of the Reiki and all that stuff? What brought you into that part of the investigation, or the whole paranormal field?
Oh, the paranormal field, I got a kick out of the ghost hunters when they first started. Caps, because they were out there helping people. And then I ran into people who needed help around my area. And I'm like, oh, okay. So we got a team together, and we started out helping folks. And that was sort of, I don't know. There's a lot of, you felt good about it. The family was feeling safer, the open line of communications, everything was just beautiful. And then it just developed from there. So
it's always good when you're able to help somebody, especially when they don't have any place else to go, and they've tried every other idea. They're like, well, I've tried everything else. They're coming to you, our last resort. Can you help us? And you're able to give them some peace of mind.
Indeed.
So how about the spiritual part of it, like the Reiki, the stones, the herbs and stuff? How did you get into that?
The stones and herbs and stuff, actually, to really freak you out, my religious background is all off the hook. I was raised Southern Baptist, baptized Pentecostal, and I traveled the Red Road, which is the Indian spiritual aspect of everything. And that's how I got into cleansing houses and sensing some of the spirits. And then the Reiki came in. We went to Dunlora one time for one of their events, and Scott Porter and Stephanie Burke were there. So we had a reading, and they were offering a Reiki class. Well, in my reading, I was talking to Stephanie about how I get fire palm. And now and again, I was able to help people by I'd be across the room. If you get this weird feeling walking by somebody that they needed some healing. And I go from across the room at my house and just aim my palm at them like Iron Man would. And I felt the energy transfer. And then all of a sudden they start feeling really funny, going, wow, feels a little bit better. And they look at me and I got my hand up like Iron Man. Hey, like, Donnie, is that you? And I'm like, it could be. So then I took the classes through Stephanie Burke to become a master.
My friend Holly Mullins, she used to tell me that she'd get like hot hands. They call her hot hands Holly, and she would she's around like energies. Her hands would warm up, and of course she's into all that spiritual stuff. You know, all the meditation and healing and stuff like that. And it sounds like you guys are in the same boat. Do you like, I know my friend Jerry, she practices Reiki on people. Do you do that? Do you have people come over and try to practice Reiki on them?
Actually, I do Reiki from a distance.
I appreciate you helping me out earlier this week.
So did you feel it? You never did get back to me. Yeah,
I definitely felt it, and I appreciated that for sure.
Awesome.
What has there been a time when you felt like, I don't want to say scared, but just kind of weirded out during an investigation, like not normal?
I tell you the truth, I'm not sure about that. I'm mainly when I do it, I've got my shields up and I'm watching my team to make sure nothing happens to them. In case when we, like last night, we shielded up and we were keeping an eye on each other to make sure nobody got an attachment or started acting a little weird. If they do, and then it's time to say, hey, break, let's roll, go outside, have a cigarette, drink some soda, drink some water, get some fresh air, and then we'll come back at it. But usually, I've actually, one place I did feel weird, and it was during an event, and that was at Fleetwood Church. And the spirits in there were really upset. And I'm like, I'm not going to blow this event to give them the message you want. So I'm going to stay here and back off. They followed me home. Apparently I was speaking in my sleep. And then they left.
Hannah says that you were pushed down the steps at one point.
Yes.
You expand on that a little bit? Like what happened? Where were you?
We were at a private home, and Dee was with us. That's one of my team members. We were called on because there was some activity and negative energy and all. And I went in and do a base reading. The ex and Dee were outside talking to the client, or friends of ours. And I went in and I had a door closed behind me, and I felt the energy, and I was coming down the stairs. I had one last little bit of steps to come down. I was thrown off of them. And I ended up, luckily I didn't break any of the gear because I had gear in both hands. Landed on the ground, and I'm beside the couch, and I can see the ex looking at me, and I'm looking at, if I'm feeling the spirit going, all right, man, it's on. You done started some stuff now. You're going to leave. And I hobbled around for about a week or so because my ankle was wrenched. But yeah, it took about 3 tries, and we got her out of there.
You said you got her out of there. Was it a female spirit that was?
No, well, we got the spirit that was bothering her out, and then she left.
Oh, okay. I got you. Have you ever been on an investigation where you felt like it wasn't a human entity, like causing the problems?
I've bumped into a lot of elementals, or spirits they'll stir up some stuff. You just got to give them an offering and acknowledge them, and don't cause them any harm. And I've got them running around the house all the time. So as long as you can, that goes back to the Indian belief. It's sort of like the Irish with the leprechauns and all.
So can you explain what's the difference between a spirit and an elemental?
Elemental has never really had an earth body like we have. An elemental is a earth spirit. It's a whole different entity, at least to me. It's like a fae, the fairies, the leprechauns, the little people.
There's a whole other world out there that is just beyond our sight.
Indeed.
And do you think, because a lot of times you hear stories about leprechauns and fairies and all that stuff, and dragons and trolls and all that, but they were, from fairy tales from a long time ago. Do you think that people were more open to the idea of that being the case or being out there, because there wasn't as much, like, the technology has kind of dumbed us down, but at the same time, it's really opened us up at the same time to have these conversations? I probably said a lot there.
Yeah, I'm just waiting for it to come through. Actually, back then, the Druids and all were all nature-oriented religion with the gods and the spirits and all. So they could, I would say, be able to speak to the earth spirits like the Indians would. Like speaking to the trees, offering to the little people, as the Indians would call them, because they're out there. I mean, Sasquatch is out there somewhere, and luckily he can hide.
What do you think caused us to lose sight of the other side?
Oh man, I'm gonna get in trouble for answering this question. Society itself. I mean, little kids can see spirits. I don't know if RJ's seen them or not in your place.
Oh, yes.
But it's because they got the new eyes.
Mm-hmm.
Meaning they haven't been disturbed by society saying, "Oh no, that's wrong." Religion saying you're not supposed to see that, you're not supposed to do this, you're not supposed to do that. It's just freedom and believing that these things are real. I mean, religion will teach you, don't speak to them, don't do this, but a lot of times they're not out to harm you. They're not demons. They're a soul that's lost or decided to stay in an area that just wants their story told. It's like if you love the house and you've been there all your life, like I've been in this place, and I may haunt it when I die. But it's, you love the place, but you're not leaving. So that's your choice. Then there's some that it was such a tragic death so quick, they don't know they're dead. And then that's where I come in sometimes too. I can help them cross over with the Reiki. Mm-hmm. But it's all because society has told us you're not supposed to do that. That is wrong. Like what I was saying about my dad always saying I watched too many horror films. That was affecting me. It wasn't that. I was just lucky enough that my mom stayed behind me. I'm going, yes. In fact, your grandmother told me, and that was my great grandmother, there's more spirits walking the earth than there is hair on a dog's back, and I've bumped into quite a few of them.
Yeah, these spirits aren't like just inside a house or an abandoned hospital or a graveyard. They're everywhere. I know a lot of times, when I was growing up, people that were like considered witches and druids and Wiccans and stuff, they were kind of like outcasts, I guess, or like, oh, don't be like them, they're weird, and I think that's part of, like you were saying, the society makes us wants us to believe a certain way and look at life a certain way. And unless you want to break free of that, way of life or way of looking at things, once you're able to do that, you have a totally different perspective on different religions and different ways people worship or, live their lives. You just have to get yourself out of that box.
You got to keep open-minded.
Yeah. And I think one of the advantages of the technology that we're using is being able to have the conversations and talk with people like we're talking now, or, going onto a Facebook group and, messaging someone like, a Wiccan group, or trying to understand where they're coming from or what they're all about. And plus you're able to communicate easier with people. And if you have a problem, like you had, like that lady person who calls you for an investigation, they can reach out to you a lot easier than before, when they had to like contact a church or something to come over to help them out.
Oh yeah. Society's kind of messed it up for folks. I mean, but it's like, what was it? I met John Tenney one time. The dude will blow your mind. He's so intellectual, and he's a paranormal investigator, and he's looks for UFOs. I think he might even be out there looking for Sasquatch. But his slogan is "Weirdos rule." So, and that's what I believe in, because if we're the weirdos, but we're the ones that people are coming to because they have an issue that nobody else can understand or want to even talk about. I get that from some of the guys at work, and when I give them different things to do or ask them to suggest things, and they do it, and they come back and go, "Wow, it actually worked. You freaked me out." I'm like, cool. That's what I'm here for. That's what I do. I'm here to help.
Yeah. It's always fun when somebody, when the light bulb kind of goes off and they realize, hey, maybe he's not crazy.
I might be.
I mean, I think we're all a little bit crazy. Have you ever thought about going like hunting for Bigfoot or anything like that?
Actually, that'd be kind of fun. To be honest with you, I mean, I've seen UFOs before, from when I was younger and stuff. Out in the woods. I mean, I lived out in Orleans. It was it's out in the middle of nowhere. Everybody said when I was going to school, I was living in the boondocks.
Mm-hmm.
But it was out there, and I watched some lights come above a tree one night, the tree line way off in the distance. And I was standing on the porch and went up to the kitchen window and said, "Guys, you got to come here and see this. You ain't never, no, come here, hurry up." So I had everybody on the front porch with me, my little sister, my dad, my mom, and we're watching these lights come up, and it came up as just one, and it split into four, then it went down, then the four came up, it went back into two, then it went down, and it came up, then it went into one, and then it went and split back into four and went gone. So of course, Dad, the skeptic, I didn't see that, but we all watched it.
Mm.
So yeah, I believe there's life out there beyond us. In fact, my mom's theory was probably they're still here. They have been. I mean, there's Indian lore of what do they call them? The underground people bringing in the surface dwellers underneath there during a catastrophic event, and then when it was all over with, letting them back out. That's just lore. I do not know. I wasn't there in that time. But that's one of the stories that goes down.
So you think like they're like the reptilians that people are talking about living underground?
I'm not going to say they're Sleestack.
Do you think they think, because I've heard of like, I guess, ships coming out from the water, the ocean. Do you think there could be bases or like civilizations that live?
They haven't found Atlantis yet, so why wouldn't they be coming from Atlantis?
I mean, that's true.
The Devil's Triangle is on the actual opposite side of the globe is a Dragon's Triangle. I don't know if you've ever went into that, because I was studying that for a little bit when I was younger. Because Bermuda Triangle, the Devil's Triangle, intrigued me, but directly across on the globe, near China and all, or Japan, there is the Dragon's Triangle. The same things were going on there that were happening in the Bermuda Triangle.
You don't hear much about the Dragon Triangle, but I'm wondering if, like over there, if they don't hear much about the Bermuda Triangle, if it's
Probably
just,
not.
you know, it's weird. I mean, it just seems like aliens have been in the news a lot with these government hearings and stuff. What do you think will ever come out of that?
They're probably going to try to hush it. I mean, they did it with Roswell. They made up a whole bunch of things about Roswell. My mom was alive during that. She said it was the first thing that actually they had proof. Then all of a sudden it got covered up. And I've watched a bunch of documentaries on it where the town was threatened by the government to not say anything. Bodies were retrieved. I mean, why is there Groom Lake and nobody can go see anything, but we have all of a sudden the stealth fighter came out?
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of stuff happening you can't go see, but I think we're reverse engineering stuff that we have picked up.
Do you think that if they were taking it seriously, that the media would be covering it a lot more? Because it seems like a life-changing thing, knowing that there are, alien vehicles on Earth. You'd think the media would be all over it, but it doesn't seem like they're covering it as much as they should.
I don't know how to even respond to that one. The thing is, my brother had a theory. If we actually knew what was going on, it might blow religion out of the water. Because there's a lot of biblical references to, like, the cigar following the children out of Egypt at night. It was a different thing during the day. A lot of the old biblical things we're talking about, circular things coming from the sky, wheels and stuff. And if you've ever read Dankin's book, Cherry of the Gods, Garden of the Gods, things like that, he did a big in-depth thing about the aliens and how far back. I mean, they've got replicas from back to about Christ's time of like planes and stuff that were found in some of the Aztec ruins and stuff like that. I mean, where did the pyramids come from? Where the Aztecs are almost the same build, the Incas. And they're all astronomically placed, just like Stonehenge. It's set like a calendar. And we lost all that knowledge.
And it goes back to what you were saying before about society. If you even suggest that aliens may have had a hand in building some pyramids, they look at you like you're a crazy person.
But still, they can't explain how the pyramids were built.
They'll try any other explanation, just like when it comes to the paranormal, it's got to be something else. Swamp gas, or you watch too many horror films.
What kind of medication are you on?
Exactly. It's frustrating.
No, you get used to it after a while, actually.
So the name Spirit Guides Paranormal, how important are spirit guides in your everyday life?
Actually, they're pretty awesome. I mean, my team, we have ours. I kind of let mine just guide me along. I mean, like Denny's talks to him, and Denny's seen mine. In fact, when we went to go do the investigation last night, he goes, "Oh, you got a company, and it's fully charged." I'm like, "That's what I like. That we're ready. See what happens." We all have a spirit guide with us. Indian beliefs, you're given 9 in a lifetime. Uh, I believe in the animal totems. My main one is wolf. I've actually had bear, buffalo, eagle. In fact, when leaving Wedmore today, uh, right as you come out, it stops, and you can see the vineyard, and there's a post. And I was sitting there trying to get the GPS to come on because inside there you don't get any signal. And all of a sudden, this big ass hawk comes flying in, lands on the post, and looks at me. I'm like, hope nobody's behind me because me and this hawk are going to talk. And I just sat there. It's like, wow. Had my cigarette, just stared at it. It stared at me, and it's like, oh, I feel comfortable. It's like, just have a safe trip, you know. But I'm in tune. I'm in tune with some of the nature spirits, so that's part of the red road for me. Maybe druid, as some people would take it.
When did you like discover your spirit guides?
I think about as soon as they discovered me. It was kind of funny because the house I'm in, I was sitting out back, and I brought my dad by with the realtor to get their feel on it. I was sitting out back, and a hawk flew over the house, swooped down over the top of my head to get my attention, went and sat on the fence, and turned right around and stared at me. And in a voice I heard, "The house is yours. It belongs to you. It can never be taken. Throw out a bid on it. It's yours." And I've been here ever since. It's just to keep an open mind to the spirit, the animals are about you. I always, like, I think you had an owl, didn't you? One time show up.
Yeah, I've had owls come. One was at the cabin, a little small owl, and then another was on top of a car.
Yeah, it was outside of where you live.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're messengers if you take time to listen.
What advice would you give someone who's trying to like communicate, or I guess find out who their spirit guide is, or like communicate with them?
Your spirit guide will find you. Don't go looking for them. If you have an urge like me, I've always been drawn to the wolf. And actually, I've talked to some fellow Native American Cherokees, and they're saying that I'm actually from the Wolf Clan, which might help too. But I've always been able to speak to the wolves. I'm always had that inclination. It's the main one will come to you, and just don't look too hard because then you get confused. But one will come to you, it'll stand out, and you'll be able to connect with it. Just don't push the issue. But they come to you. You can't go, hey, I like you. You're going to be my spirit guide. No, it doesn't work that way. They come and find you. So I just say, let it go. Ask for one, and it'll come to you. I mean, some will get a deer. Some will get a lizard. All of them have a power. All of them have a gift. All of them have a message. I mean, I'll have a hummingbird come right up in my face and say, hi. And there's a message that was brought to me. There was some healing I needed to do for somebody, or I need to look inside myself for healing. Like the hawk today. Usually a hawk's a good messenger for me, saying everything's going to be all right. And my life is a little, but things are going to chill out for me. So it was like, hey, you did a great investigation. You have a safe ride home. You have a great week ahead of you. And it's the positive that I got from the hawk today. But they will come and find you.
So it had almost like a calming effect on you, to almost a reassuring, like, hey, you did good.
If you take the time and listen to them, yeah.
Diana says that hers come to hers came to her in a dream.
Dee's got a mess up in her yard. I mean, she gets bears now and again, and she got a mess of deer. But yeah, they'll come to you in a dream, in a heartbeat. Just keep an open mind to it. It may not be what you want. It's not all glamour.
Yeah. I've tried meditating to talk to my spirit guides, but I really can't get my head clean. Hard to clear my head. They tell you to not think. Well, it's hard not to think when someone tells you not to think.
It takes a whole lot of work.
Yeah.
And then you got little RJ running around too. So
yeah, it was a lot easier when I was, when it was just me and Angie to get time for, some quiet time. But, it's fine. They'll come when like you said, the owls that showed up, it's just when the time is right.
Yeah.
So we've got like 10 minutes left to go on the show. What is in a place you'd like to investigate that you've never been? Like 3 top places you like to go, but if money was no object.
If allowed, I'd like to go to Edinburgh Castle. I'd like to go to Vlad's Castle. And I'd like to wander around in the Winchester house to see if I can get lost.
That would be fun. I would enjoy it. That's one of Angie's. That's her bucket list location, is to go out to the Winchester Mystery House.
I've been to the Stanley Hotel there in Colorado, and that's just. I've been to Hinsdale House, Wildwood, St. Albans. In fact, that's where we met. Trans-Allegheny, Octagon House, bunch of private places, Graffiti House, Fleetwood Church. Just so many I've been to, and there's some I want to see. I'd like to go to West Virginia State Pen. I haven't been there yet. And there's a fort in Pennsylvania I'd like to do.
Have you been to the cabin yet?
Yes, I have been to the cabin. In fact, you let me in. We were with Nova Spies.
Oh, that's right.
That was years ago.
In Rikers, you've been out there too.
Yep, a bunch of times. I've been to Hanover.
Yeah, I mean, those are some good locations. All the places you've mentioned. I have some great EVPs from Hanover Tavern and Henricus Park. St. Albans, like, holy crap, that place is awesome.
And we're getting ready we've got the exchange to ourselves at the end of the month.
Oh, that's a good place too.
Dunlora's an awesome place.
Yeah, I've never been to Dunlora before. A lot of places that I need to check out. I haven't been to yet.
Yeah, Dunlora's a sweet little place. Sheena is the great hostess.
What piece of advice would you give someone who wants to start investigating the paranormal? Did it come through?
Yeah, I kept seeing your mouth move and then it stopped. Like I said, a little bit of a drag there. One thing is, don't do it alone. Don't do it alone. You don't need a whole lot of gear. To tell you the truth, once you start getting a few hits and all, you're going to get addicted. You're going to want more gear. I mean, I got a friend, Terry Osborne, with ISDP. I swear she's got more gear than you could use in one investigation. But it's awesome. But you only need a few things. Team up with some like-minded people. Get permission for the location, most of all. And go in with an open mind and see what you find. I mean, definitely shield yourself, protect yourself, because you can get attachments. Entities will cling on to you, and they will kind of dig right in. You got to pay attention to how you feel. You got to watch how your team's reacting. I mean, I've watched team members' eyes change, the whole demeanor change. And it's like, you got to keep an eye on that kind of stuff, because it will happen, and it can happen. I've had plenty of attachments. I got backup, deep healing. I stay in contact with her, that if I ever need entities removed, I can contact her and she'll do it. And then I get scolded because I picked them up. But most of the time, I've been doing pretty good.
I guess that kind of stuff just comes with the territory.
It does. It's like it's sort of like the old adage: if you haven't been thrown, bitten, kicked, stepped on by a horse, you're not a horse person. In the ghost business, if you haven't been shoved off a staircase, pushed, bitten, punched, scratched, burned, you haven't been doing it long enough. Eventually, it's all going to happen.
That has not happened to me yet, but
That's good.
I'm still fairly new to it compared to other people. What is the best part to you about investigating the paranormal?
If you can take and gather names like we have, if you look at our YouTube channel, our one video of we did Fleetwood and Graffiti House, and it started off with the name Jonathan at Graffiti House, and then we got home. I felt like something was attached to me. We brought out the spirit box, started talking, and the name Rhodes came out. Well, when Denise and the ex were at the Culpeper library or the courthouse or something, was looking up something, they found the Culpeper Civil War hospital log. Now, that means any building in Culpeper was a hospital. So that means all that log got dumped into one place. Well, there was a Jonathan Rhodes from North Carolina. He was infantry, and he was shot in the leg, was amputated, and he died at Graffiti House. He never made it home, so he was one upset spirit. Now, when you take it and you find a name that you don't even know, and you go back in the history and find them, it's like, wow. It's like last night we ran into Lieutenant Colonel David, I think it's Drake or something like that. He was a British officer. He fought in one of the battles. I can't remember the name of it right now, down there in Williamsburg. And he was there. And when Denny went to do research, he found him. So that's the kind of best part about, besides helping the people, is if you can get a name and find the history of that person, a lot of times the activity will die. It's like they have a story that needs to be told, and here I am, please listen. But when you can get that name connected with all the activity that you've had and names that you've gotten, that's the bomb right there. That's when you're hooked.
That's total validation. That's awesome. So I want to give you a chance to
90 seconds.
We have a minute and a half left to talk about what you guys have coming up here with your team.
Right now we've got we're going to do an overnight or whatever time we got at Exchange Hotel in Gordonsville. That would be the end of the month. After that, we're kind of laying low. I'm kind of giving a kudos or promoting a little bit as much as I can the historical background of Fleetwood Church, which is next weekend. It's all about history, no paranormal involved. If you want to stop by and get some history on the Brandy Station area. Other than that, we kind of lay low, and we don't do the events like we used to do. I wanted to get everybody back to help the people, and instead of focusing on events, because I think we lost ourselves. So now we're back to the team split, but now my team, the originals, are back to help people. And that's what it was all about to begin with.
That's awesome. Well, I want to thank you for coming on the show tonight. I'm sorry for the lag.
10 seconds.
That happens. Well, I'll leave you guys like I always leave everybody. Peace, love, and guys, stay in touch. Watch us. We're out there and about. You never know where we're gonna pop up at. But thanks again, Ryan, for having us. If you ever need me, man, for more Reiki, let me know.
I appreciate that, and I'll be in touch. We can get you come back to the cabin sometime.
That'd be cool.
All right, brother. You take care.
You too.
Good night.
Good night, bro.
Well, that was fun. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in to the show. I appreciate Donnie. I'm sorry there was a lag. I don't know what the heck's going on with that. I had a hard time actually starting the live stream, so maybe that just kind of set us back a little bit when I messed this up. I don't know, but I appreciate it. Tuesday night we've got Ghost Seekers Texas coming on the show, so that should be fun. Hopefully the StreamYard stuff will be figured out by then. Again, thank you, Donnie, for coming on the show. I appreciate it, and back here Tuesday night, same freaking awesome time, same freaking awesome channel. Good night.